Event that's going to occur during the 1850s that shows you just how far apart the North and the South are is going to be John Brown's raid. On October 16th, 1859, John Brown arrives and shows his face in Harper's Ferry, Virginia. Now, if you look at Harper's Ferry today, it's in West Virginia, but nonetheless, back then it was in Virginia. His plan is simple. Basically, he was going to go into Harper's Ferry and take over the federal arsenal that's there. And there, what will happen is you would get all of these weaponry, and then you would go free to slaves by basically going up the Shenandoah Valley. Remember, the Shenandoah Valley, the Shenandoah River actually flows north. So when you go up the valley, you're actually going south. But nonetheless, so he's going to go through the Shenandoah Valley, arming all of these slaves, and basically just massive sweep of anti-slavery violence through much of the breadbasket of Virginia. The problem is that no slave rebellion occurs. John Brown, instigates his raid in Harper's Ferry, and no slave population comes in to bail him out. And suddenly, what you're going to have is John Brown, some of his sons and followers, being holed up into this federal arsenal. So the people of Harper's Ferry are going to call on the government, and the government responds by sending Colonel Robert E. Lee to the scene in order to apprehend John Brown. Lee is going to basically say, look, if you surrender now, I can guarantee your safety. And that deal is going to be made by a young lieutenant named Jeb Stuart. And if you know anything about the American Civil War, you have heard of Jeb Stuart. But nonetheless, Brown is going to refuse, and the Marines, they are going to storm into the arsenal, and Brown and his men are subdued. And in fact, 10 of Brown's men are killed, 5 escape, and the rest are captured, along with Brown himself. Brown will be executed for treason. He's going to be put on trial, and Brown, rather than making a defense for himself, is going to put the country on trial. He's famously going to say that slavery is only going to die as a result of a massive effusion of blood. Remember, this is 1 year away from the election of 1860, 2 years from when the wars is going to actually start. So he's kind of being prophetic here. But nonetheless, he's going to be executed for treason by the state of Virginia. And we can see again, the reaction to this event is going to show that North and South are clearly on opposite sides. The North is going to hail him as a martyr, and the church bells are going to ring as if a martyr died. The South, on the other hand, is going to say that finally the man is dead. He's kind of like the Osama bin Laden of the antebellum South, public enemy number one. This is the guy that the South wanted their hands on, and finally the man is dead. It's also going to John Brown's raid is going to convince a lot of Southerners that his position on slavery is actually much more mainstream in the North than it actually was. Remember, John Brown's an abolitionist. He believes in racial equality. He believes that slavery needs to be just eliminated and eradicated. A lot of Northerners are not going to go that far. They're not going to believe in racial equality, and they're not going to believe that slavery needs to be eradicated immediately. They don't like it, but they don't like it. They don't hate it as much as John Brown does.